What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon Kindle. Create space. Link will be in the description box below as usual. Go get it. PayPal link there also asked me to put it up, so I'll put it up. Thanks everybody for supporting. This video is entitled Do You Have Real Non-Negotiables? So I was looking at David Banner, well not looking but listening to David Banner's podcast today. And he had a brother on it as a lawyer, and the topic was like, basically the things you wouldn't do for the bag. 1 and 2. I think I was listening to 2 though. And the lawyer was like, you got to have some real non-negotiables. Like, there's a line that you're not going to cross. And he was talking about competence and integrity. And it made me think like, to a degree, we do have a lot of superficial non-negotiables. And honesty should be a non-negotiable. Integrity should be a non-negotiable. And the best part about it, like David Banner was asking me, he said, give me your definition of it, because integrity is like perverted now. And he was like, doing the right thing by a person in the way that you would want somebody to do the right thing by you, basically. And that is lacking in society. I mean, that is very much so lacking. But, I think about it in life where, part of what they were talking about, a lot of us are, sometimes you prostitute yourself for $1. And you're willing to do anything for $1. And as long as you get the buck, it's worth it. But at the same time, it depends on the person. You feel like you sold yourself or you didn't. Now, ironically, I ran into a guy after I got off of work today who, he recognized me. And I'm like, no, you don't. And then I told him where I was from. He's like, yeah, I went to such and such and such and such too. You look familiar. I'm like, damn. But no, it wasn't in a bad way. It's weird though. And I thought about from over 20 years ago to now, lessons I've learned where, there are things that were non-negotiable as a kid that as an adult I kind of bended on. And I thought it was because of knowledge and wisdom and understanding. But unfortunately, that's a lesson learned that you should just stick to your non-negotiables if they're actually rooted in principles. You know what I mean? And, honesty is definitely one of them. Integrity is definitely one of them. Being reliable is definitely one of them. Actually being considerate is actually one of them. And, I cannot lie. I've given a lot of passes on those because it took me years to become a better person. And what I mean by that is I used to let my temper control me. And I can be honest enough to say this, and this might sound cold and harsh, but most people act like dumbass children. And I learned very early, if you fuck them up, they'll respect you if you fuck them up more than they'll respect you if you be nice to them and do right by them. So for me, when I was, I had to actually work on being a better person to know if I really drag you in the mud, I ain't gonna never have to worry about you again. And you gonna actually act like you got some sense. But I just didn't want to be that person all the time. Because I felt like if I got to do that to be around you, then it's something wrong with me being around you, because I don't need to be around you. You're going to bring out the worst in me, and I'm not really going to care. And ultimately, it's going to make me worse, But over the years, the non-negotiables became blurred. They weren't actually adult non-negotiables. They were childish. They were immature. Used to have non-negotiables as far as, body type, And then I met girls who were good women who just didn't fit the body type, but they were good women. And, I should have been worried about if they was a good person instead of how they look. Now, I will say this though. One of those non-negotiables is actually your lifestyle and how you take care of yourself. I didn't like being around people who didn't take care of themselves, because unfortunately, that laziness can make you lazy. That lazy lifestyle. I didn't like a lazy lifestyle. That's to a degree a non-negotiable to this day. If you got a lazy lifestyle, I'm going to check out. Just because, I just can't. It just doesn't sit well with me. Non-negotiables, I want to be around peaceful people and peace of mind. And I said this before. My best friends are dead. Like my closest friends, they're dead. One's a good friend of mine and one is a family member. My best friend and my grandmother, and they died 2 weeks apart. A while ago, over 10 years ago, and I can say that it's nice to have somebody who actually cares about you, the human being. And because I've had people who actually cared about me as a human being, I'm glad I experienced that. Now, to be perfectly honest, I haven't experienced that since. But I can still appreciate what I once had. And the reason I'm saying that is because, peace of mind ain't easy for most adults in life. And it should be a non-negotiable, because you don't want people around you to bring conflict and drama and bullshit. Because life is too short, to constantly be going through conflict, drama, and bullshit. Now, I'm not saying that life doesn't happen, because sometimes, conflict can be inevitable. Drama may be inevitable. Bullshit may be inevitable depending on the situation, but not a constant situation. You know what I'm saying? And it becomes a non-negotiable, because it's not worth it. It's really not. And sometimes people try to, drag a person into the mud because they're just unhappy. And the only thing that's going to make them happy is making other people unhappy. Misery loves company. And I think that's a non-negotiable. That's a non-negotiable that I'm not going to be miserable with you. It's just not finna happen. It took me a long time to get just free from a lot of negativity, and I ain't trying to, just be laying in that bed. You feel me? But I think that's more of an adult non-negotiable. Being considerate. The old quote, "It's nice to be nice." I like nice people. I like being around nice people. I can say this, and I can tell you it's very difficult. I had great people in my life, and the only thing I could say honestly, it taught me to, sometimes you're gonna run out of great people, and you're gonna have to be the great person. And that was a growing experience. Like, sometimes you're gonna have to be that person that sacrifices for others. Sometimes you're gonna have to be that person that's patient. Sometimes you're gonna have to be that person that's kind. Sometimes you got to be that person that, is doing the best to keep the peace, even though, because the bigger picture is this too shall pass. And and I that's more difficult than what I used to be when I was younger, because to be perfectly honest, my immediate thought sometimes is just to crush people, and you never see it coming because I'm not a big guy. And me being nice, people just I could they play these quote unquote power games. This is how you start, and this is how it's gonna start, and this is how it's gonna be, and my mind is somewhere completely different. Like, I'm gonna throw you clean off a balcony. Like, I'm looking at cameras and shit. Like, can't nobody see this? I'm gonna break every bone in your goddamn knee. Like, I'm gonna separate your kneecap from your damn leg. And it sounds cold, but because, and I realized when you have, thinking about when the brothers was talking about, when you have non-negotiables that are adults that fit with you to your core and your core beliefs, you're gonna have less drama, less tension, more peace, and I think it's definitely worth it. I think it's definitely worth it. Yeah, man, I'm done with this one. Like, share, subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Peace.